Hi guys, I am Susan Barashai of CA Admissions. Thank you so much for joining me. Just a quick question for everyone who is currently live. I have a microphone and I want to make sure that you can hear me. So please just let me know if you can hear me on the chat. I'll check it over here before we get started. I don't see any comments. Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you so much. I am really glad to be here, and hope you have not. Hope you're safe and have not been affected seriously by this pandemic. I appreciate you joining us here today. I will be talking about school research, and if you give me one moment, I will be opening up my presentation in just a minute. All right. So for those of you who do not know me, I'm an alumnus of NYU and Yale. I have previously worked in corporate recruiting and finance. My finance background includes working for a prominent New York City-based hedge fund, as well as a private equity firm that was based in Belgium. While I have been fortunate to have had meaningful opportunities in the corporate world, I have always been passionate about helping others reach their highest potential. A little over 5 years ago, I was asked by a colleague who was an analyst to help her and coach her through the entire process of the MBA application to Harvard. That was her dream school, and I was, of course, happy to guide her through the process, and Harvard was the only school she received an admission to. This was the beginning of what would later become SIA Admissions, and it's an avenue, it's a place that really allows me to deliver on my passion in helping others reach their highest potential in their careers. So who is SIA Admissions? So SIA Admissions is a boutique New York City-based firm, admissions consulting firm, which means that clients work directly with me as its founder from the beginning until the end of the application process from A to Z. We work one-on-one to identify unique characteristics of that distinguish our clients. These characteristics usually comes about or is reflected in their character, in their values, and in their mission. Our understanding and taking the time to get to know who they are helps us help them tell their story in a meaningful way that presents the candidate profile, presents a candidate profile that is sympathetic to the applicant's ambitions while weaving the university's mission and admission criteria, ensuring that they have the highest probability of acceptance into their program of choice. The success of our individualized approach is reflected in our 90% placement rate, typically to institutions like Harvard, Wharton, Sloan, NYU, Yale, Darden, etc. Today, we're going to address how to effectively research the target school through a qualitative lens, so that you can leverage those insights and build a compelling narrative and increase your chances of admission. After the presentation, we will have some time for questions. As I present on the topic, so I encourage you that you write your questions in the chat box so I can then later answer them. Please take a moment to formulate a complete thought and a clear sentence in your question. That way I can answer it in a clear way and in a direct way so that it's useful for you to understand whatever it is that your question is. I won't be able to see any of your comments until the end, but I'm really excited to get to know what you guys are thinking about, what's worrying you, so that I can help you along the way. Now, this live video will be available on GMAT Club's YouTube channel even after this live session, so you can always come back and rewatch it again. I ask that you subscribe to GMAT Club's channel so you can be notified about any future videos, future live sessions that they may have, as well as like this video. So let's get started. So you are here because you are considering, of course, a professional degree to help you gain the insights and experiences in business. This degree will help you obtain the opportunities for the job you want and the life you dream of. Considering the investment in your education, you want to make sure that you're making the right decision, choosing the right program, and getting the best possible ROI, especially in what's going on in the world today. And I'll talk more about after the presentation, more about what's happening right now in the admissions process. Now, in researching schools, there is a quantitative and qualitative research approach. I have talked about the quantitative approach to selecting and to narrowing down your target list in the past. Today, however, I want to focus more on the qualitative elements of the selection process and how you'll use the information to strengthen your application whenever you choose to apply. If you have spoken with me or watched any of my videos or part of my Sunday noon minutes to admission video series, you know my views on having clear goals as a fundamental step in your business school application. Knowing your destination is essential to how you present yourself in the most appropriate way to your target institutions. Gaining admission is an exercise in influencing influence and the applicant's ability to convince the admissions team they have what it takes to succeed in the program and in the world post-MBA. Presenting your goals with uncertainty or vagueness will not yield the success you seek in influencing the committee to offer you admission. Therefore, you want to have a clear understanding and description of why you are seeking a business degree. Moreover, you want to also articulate why precisely that particular institution, why you're targeting that institution, and why is it the best institution for you. Successfully weaving together your goals and the school's offerings will facilitate your presentation of your achievements, goals, and how the school will help you get to those goals. It will make your quote-unquote pitch more compelling and in turn facilitate, of course, your admission. So before you can persuade the admission team on why their particular program makes sense for you, you need to know why you're seeking a degree to begin with, why you need an MBA to begin with. So I want you to spend some time being introspective about why you want, about what you want rather, personally and professionally from your career, and how do you imagine the business degree, generally speaking here, is going to help you get there. You need to know first the macro view before you get into the minutia and the details of how a specific program can help you get to that goal. So at the end of the day, At the end of the day, an MBA should strengthen you. It should help you develop the technical skills you need, improve your leadership style. It should help you build a strong network, and identify opportunities for you to go out in the world and make a difference in the area you're most passionate about. You will come back into the workforce retooled to succeed so that you can lead a life of meaning, provide opportunities to impact your community, and follow a professional path you dream of, or perhaps even a professional path that you haven't had any exposures yet to know that it's available for you. There are a lot of quantitative data you can find online about your target program. What is more challenging and requires a bit of sleuthing is the qualitative component that are fundamentally necessary for helping you showcase your fit in your chosen program and choosing also the program that is right fit for you. Before I give you 3 elements to gain qualitative insights into your program of choice, let's talk about wasted opportunities in selecting the wrong program for you, your personality, and your aspirations. Choosing the wrong program can be very costly. Not only will your application to the wrong institution cost a lot in the preparation process, dedicating obviously resources and time to a program that is not right fit for you, but it also, the quality of your application will be affected. You will not be able to visually and realistically imagine your experience at that target institution and program. Now, this mismatch will directly impact the outcome of your submission, and here's why. In the preliminary pre-submission application process, not knowing why you have selected a particular program, a target program, and not knowing what it offers to you and your goals will affect your ability to persuade the admissions team. Now, you have to remember that the admissions team is trained in seeing the mismatch. Instead of giving you a chance and invite you to interview so they can get to know you better, they will invite someone else who has taken the time to research and submit a persuasive application that adequately draws a bridge between their accomplishments and their short and long-term goals, and demonstrates through examples how the target program and the institution fits their agenda. This person has made it easy for the admissions team to invite them for an interview. They have taken the time to demonstrate why they are the right person for that particular program. The cost of submitting a less than a well thought out application is too high. So take the time to do what is required to research the institution so you can submit an application you're proud of and that gets you that interview and at the end the admission that you are seeking. Now, of course, you cannot apply to every program, so you have to make a decision of where you're applying. I had a client who submitted applications to programs where his GRE and GRE and GPA were well below the target school's class profile. While he belonged to an overrepresented demographic, he had excellent leadership skills. He was not an entrepreneur. However, his thought process always sought ways to improve and be more effective and more impactful as a leader. He had a clear goal and a clear image of his career and how the institution is going to help him, and also where he's going to go, of course. And we worked on selecting the programs where he could demonstrate the qualitative fit, and where the qualitative fit was also a match for him. This approach yielded 4 admits and 1 waitlist at top 20 programs. One of those admits was Wharton with a significant scholarship. Had we failed to research which schools potentially overemphasize the importance of leadership, which schools have precise fit with this person. His narrative may have not resonated as loudly, and his application may not have yielded these results that they did. Now, you may still be wondering, with a GPA and GRE that is below the class profile, how did he get in? He showed fit in his application. He's a testament that institutions want to accept individuals, regardless of their GPA and GRE score, who fit the institution's character and their values and their mission. And you want to do the same. So build a strategy where the weaker elements of your profile do not distract the admissions team from seeing your strengths, the features that make you unique, and the promise you bring, a higher probability of future success. To do that, you need commitment, you need time, and you need the evaluation of each element of your narrative that helps you present your story most appropriately to your target institution. This is the component where a coach can be beneficial in your process of admission. Now, I have promised you 3 actionable items that allow you to qualitatively evaluate your target institution, so you choose a program that not only meets the quantitative elements to help you gain the experiences needed for your dream career, but it's also a place that nurtures you, nurtures your strengths, and enables you to shine. Action item number 1 is to understand cultural fit. Assuming that you have a clear understanding of your short and long-term goals and how the business degree fits in that plan, start having conversations with representatives of the school. The representative of the school are members of the admissions team, current students, and alumni. Be mindful that before you contact them, put together a list of questions that target these 3 categories: the program, the community, and the opportunities in that program. Now, it doesn't stop there, we go further in. Now, assuming you have done your research before contacting them, each category must include questions that help you better understand cultural fit. Now, what is cultural fit? Cultural fit is, in an academic program, comes together when behaviors of the collective people that make up that program, shape the way the various entities within the program work together. Those entities obviously are going to include the admissions team, who make up the classroom, the students, as well as the faculty. And that's just the basics. That's not including all the other entities that are part of the program. So in other words, your daily experiences at the target institution will be shaped by your interactions with these groups of people. Once you have compiled a list of questions and have had conversations with representatives of the schools, you obviously are going to have to evaluate the fit in that environment. Now, how do you determine that cultural fit? The way you determine cultural fit is to understand how these separate entities work together. Is it a collaborative environment, or perhaps more independent environment? Everyone goes about doing their own thing. Are people empowered to take initiatives? Are people empowered to think outside the box? How much flexibility the program offers? Can you shape your own curriculum besides the basics, besides the core of what's required in the MBA program? Ask questions like that. How competitive are the people in the program, particularly students? A competitive environment is great, but there's limitations to how comfortable everyone can be in that environment. And you will have to ask yourself if that's you and if you thrive in the competitive environment. You also want to look at how accessible faculty is. Can you have conversations with them? Can you debate? Can you think and communicate with them your ideas and how they can be helpful to you? The questions that address cultural fit help you understand how the school representatives at the target institution work together to shape the experience of individual students. You must evaluate if the cultural image you received based on these conversations that you will have with at least these three groups of people, how does it offer an environment you find nurturing? So you can develop as a professional, you can be productive and maximize your time there. And you can be, at the end of the day, happy to be in that environment, encouraged to be there. So I'm going to give you homework, and your action number 1 homework, after you've done your school research, of course, prepare a list of questions that are pertinent to the admissions officers or representatives of the admissions team, students, and alumni, and reach out to them to ask those questions. These questions must get at the cultural fit and should fall within the following categories. How collaborative is the environment? How flexible is the environment? How competitive it is? How accessible are faculty? And obviously, ask those questions, reach out. Every one of these individuals is going to come to you with their own perspective. The answers will come from their own perspective, particularly with students and alumni, and how their individual experiences have shaped their perspective of the institution. And for that reason, you want to have more than one conversation to get a better understanding of the culture there. Actionable item number 2 is evaluating leadership style. So what do I mean by that? Typically, an applicant is going to have, on average, 5 years of work experience by the time that they are admitted into the program, or by the time they commence their program. By the time the application comes around, they will have had some opportunities to demonstrate their leadership style and have had opportunities to lead perhaps a team or perhaps a project or whatever the case may be. It is understood that not all leaders are created equal, and not all schools evaluate or view leadership in the same exact way. To successfully gain admission to your target school, you will need to showcase through examples your leadership style. Now, that leadership style must match what your target institution is looking for. I think that's clear. For instance, Harvard looks for traits of leadership where candidates have motivated others and impacted their communities, whatever that community looks like. In contrast, MIT Sloan looks for global citizens with a vision to contribute to their organization and the world. While both MBA programs look for significant impact and leadership, the lens through which they view the impact and that leadership style differs. So as a second step, before you begin any application, any writing of your application, whether that's your resume or essays or whatever else comes into play, you must meticulously evaluate what your target institution is looking for as their next generation of leaders. Typically, the details of what the school is looking for is available on the school's website. However, should they not be clear, should they need further clarification, feel free to ask those questions in those conversations that you have in step 1, in action item number 1. It is best that you have those conversations in what the school is looking for, and you'll get a better answer if you ask the admissions representatives, because they're the one who is making up the classroom. So homework number 2, in an Excel spreadsheet, list the leadership trait sought by each of your target schools under column A. Under column B, list the aspects of your character and your experiences that speaks to those specific leadership characteristics. Now, you want to be prepared that these leadership styles, what you bring to the table, is then reflected on every component and every piece of your application. And an Excel spreadsheet is always helpful to keep everything neat and tidy. So the third actionable item involves examining the target institution's contributions to the thought community. Whether you're pursuing a career in consulting or want to lead strategy at a startup or already well-established global organization, you will be challenged with new problems that come about as a result of the changes happening all around us and in the world. This pandemic is going to change how business is done, how businesses think of strategy, and how they prepare for something like this to perhaps even happen in the future. And you need to come in prepared to be able to do that. Now, for that reason, obviously, your MBA you should be prepared for your post-MBA career and gain innovative ways of looking at business problems that the future is going to hold. Now, in the classroom discussions, the faculty in particular are going to challenge your thinking. Being surrounded by the right intellectual stimulus will change the way you analyze and approach any problem. Therefore, the more forward-thinking and innovative the faculty members are at your target institution, regardless of their discipline, the more you will be surrounded by complexity of thought that will help you broaden and strengthen your critical thinking skills. The faculty's way of examining business issues will help you emerge from your MBA program with a kaleidoscopic way of looking at problems. Therefore, your target institution should be equipped to prepare you for the trials in your career. You want to be surrounded by diversity of thought and forward-thinking perspectives, so you are ready to make to have a maximum impact in the organizations you will lead post-MBA, whether that's short-term or long-term. So homework number 3, or action item number 3, is that you list the most prominent faculty at your target institution and their thought contributions. Match your areas of development to those contributions. Obviously and naturally, top institutions are going to attract the best of the best researchers in their respective fields. After looking at the skills you need for your dream career, and that's why, again, I go back to what do you want? You have to start with the fundamentals. Review the target institution's faculty and what they have to offer. Look at their research, look at their books that they've published, look at their TED Talks or any other form of presentation of their thought process and their work. Evaluate how their forward-thinking approach to the subject or to their subject matter that they're experts in can help you expand your perspectives. So you're tooled with a fresh way of looking at problems and maximally impact your future organization, obviously, and the world. Now let's recap. We talked about how many individuals research their target schools and only look at the qualitative elements of what the schools offer. However, qualitative attributes are also highly valuable in your success and are going to be really the determining factor in helping you showcase how you fit into that institution. Today, you are leaving with 3 actionable items to complete. These actionable items are there to help you research and narrow down your list of schools so that you can then use that insight in your application and showcase, for whatever schools that you've chosen to apply to, showcase how you fit that program. Why have you chosen that program specifically? So we talked about cultural fit and its importance. Now make your list of questions for school representative to understand that cultural fit, help you understand how you would fit in to that program. And then you can obviously demonstrate how you would fit in there as well. 2 is your leadership style. The leadership style. List what your target institutions are looking for is in the future leader and how you match that style. We talked about, of course, meticulously examining how your target institution evaluates leadership style, and how critical that is, and how your ability to do that successfully is going to determine your success in your applications. Number 3 is thought contributions. You want to identify the target institution's top contributing faculty and how their forward-thinking work, how their forward-thinking approach to business and how they view business will help you become a better leader and help you make a greater impact post MBA. Now, you want to complete these 3 items and you're better prepared to influence the outcome of your application. You will have all the tools that you need at your disposal to do that. You will be able to speak how you fit within the target community, demonstrate the skills you bring to the table in the language the institution wants to hear, and can speak to the qualitative elements in addition to the quantitative elements of what the school offers that will enable you to reach your goals and impact your future community. We understand, of course, that every person has a unique story, and I encourage you to reach out with these lists. Once you have gone through these 3 steps, reach out to us with the outcome and even the questions that you are thinking about asking the representatives of your target institutions. We are happy to coach you in presenting your unique experiences and speak to those to that research. So your narrative is positively going to influence your admission. So I'm going to end the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to go to some questions. Before we do that, I just wanted to take a moment and talk about, apologies as I close these. I'm just going to take a moment and talk about the sort of current state of affairs on a macro scale. Of course, everything is still developing and is still in the works. As you know, some schools have extended their deadlines for the next class. Also, some schools have made announcements that at least a portion of the first semester in next year's class is going to be online. Those are elements that you want to think about. That said, I think individuals and institutions, some are going to be detracted by these events and some are going to be influenced by them to move forward and apply when these opportunities allow for more people to be in front of the admissions committee. So hopefully that makes some sense there. I'm going to go to questions. I'll start from the top and go through each one of them. It's the first time I'm actually navigating this, so I apologize if it's taking me a minute. Hello, guys and gals. So the first question comes from Fiza. And the question is, what type of activities boost your application? So what type of activities? I am assuming here that you're talking about not necessarily, well, two things. One is the activities that you do and that you work on in your work, in your experiences, in your professional experiences, and others are activities that you are part of and contribute towards in more extracurricular kind of environment or volunteer or something like that. In the work and in your extracurricular, you want to keep looking for opportunities to demonstrate leadership. Now, again, leadership does not necessarily mean that you have to have a leadership title. It just means that you have taken initiative, you have taken that you have become accountable for something, that you are leading someone to do something, you are influencing them to do something. Something for the greater good is not just something in general. So ways that can help, improve the performance of your team, ways that can improve the performance of the organization's sales, marketing activities, how many people are, looking at the company. This is thinking about how you can be a leader, how you can influence, and how you can impact your community, whether that's, again, in your professional world or in your sort of community. I do encourage you that, and I tell this to my longer term clients who I work with for a longer period of time in the preparation component of things, that you keep a journal of activities that you are being involved and you're part of. I had a client a couple of years ago where he had applied by himself to the schools and didn't mention all of the activities, all the things, all the leadership experiences and exposures he had had in his application when he applied by himself. And that's just to say that, if you have a sort of a collection or if you have a document that keeps all your activities, it's easier for you to go there and reference it and say, oh, I've worked on this, I worked on that. These are all the activities that I've worked on. And then you can select the ones that are most prominent and that can speak to the institution you're targeting. Again, if you follow these steps, you'll be able to figure out exactly what the school is looking for, and then pinpoint exactly how you can, or the lens through which you can tell your narrative to those institutions. But having those experiences to draw from is going to make a huge difference to your application, right? It's not about telling them that you are a great leader. It's about showing them that you are a great leader. And how you do that by giving them examples in your past experiences. Right. So hopefully that answers the question. I'm going to move to the second question. What kind of qualities does an admission committee look out for, and what are the key points to address and showcase overall profile? Okay. Am I missing something there? But I'll answer the first component. Again, the admissions committee is looking for leadership, is looking also for having a clear direction. If you are changing jobs, if you are really sort of appear, perhaps even on paper, a little lost in the sense that you are going from, consulting to PE to marketing to, just sort of a different types of experiences, and you're not really showing a cohesive direction or direction that you can take your application to, it's going to be hard for them to be able to say, yes, Hemant is the type of leader we want, because they have a hard, like they're basing their decisions on how they view on your past experiences rather, and you want to show them that you are a serious leader, you're a serious professional that is taking every necessary step to go towards and move forward to building, you know, a better and more impactful career. Let me see, did I answer everything there? Key points to address and showcase overall in the profile. I think key points is going to be leadership. It's going to be your ability to show them how you are going to take advantage of the program, what they offer. They have spent enormous amounts of money to put the entire program together, to make all the opportunities available to their students. And they want to know that whoever is joining the institution is not just there for the brand recognition, is there to truly and genuinely take advantage of the program and all the resources that they have available. So really spend time thinking about and evaluating, what do you need first and foremost, where you're going, and how the institution, the ones that you're targeting, is going to help you get there, in what way, and being as specific as you can in your applications, particularly in questions that, you know, ask something along the lines of why this program, why this institution, and you really want to show there, you want to spend time and articulate it clearly why you are applying. All right, let's move to the next question. So Gokul is asking, as an international student looking for work in US post MBA, how much should we emphasize on STEM MBAs? I think one of the things that you want, I think I understand your question, so I'm sorry if I don't answer it exactly what you were hoping for, but the STEM MBA is going to help you be able to stay in the United States and work in the United States for an extra year, if I'm not mistaken. Which means is that if you're working for an institution in the US that is evaluating and that's helping you, you know, get that sponsorship, you are going to want to have the maximum time so that they can sponsor you, so that they can extend that visa. So it's really important that you think about that, you know, when you're applying in the institutions you're applying to. I would say that you do want to take the steps that are necessary for you to maximize every opportunity. So if you're in the United States and you don't have enough time to find a job that's going to sponsor you, that is going to make the investment much more difficult, because you may have to go back to, you know, wherever your home country is. And in some cases, that's, you know, paying back that loan if you don't get the scholarship. It's really challenging. So people want to stay in the United States, not just to gain experience, but also the quality of life and the ability to have a better ROI in that, and be able to pay back the loan, right? That they're taking to you know, get an education from a U.S. institution. So I would say you probably want to keep that as a important sort of checkbox in your decision process. All right, next one comes from Mr. Griton 234. Hi, Susan. There's some good points to gauge cultural fit. A lot of colleagues follow team-based learning and allow a great degree of flexibility with curriculum. How does one differentiate colleges? That's a really important question, and a great question. I would say go back to, what do you want? So start from the beginning, right? What is it that you're looking for from an institution besides the core, besides what, you know, Okay, it's like all the MBAs are going to offer you a very similar core curriculum that's going to give you the fundamentals of business. But besides that, what are you looking to gain from that experience? And then look at, how, what are the opportunities that the school is going to offer you? How are you going to be around the individuals that are like-minded, that think in the way that you think, or are interested in the fields that you are interested in? Because you obviously don't want to necessarily just be thinking, just surround yourself around the same people who think the same way, because you're not going to grow. But you want to be around people that are interested in the same fields you may be interested in. So dig deeper and look at ways that can differentiate those institutions. Of course, a lot of them have, know what the industry is looking for, know what the organizations are looking for in their MBA candidates, and are going to have a lot of similarities. But look for the differences. And that would be my response here is, that's why you want to gather as much information as you can for each of the institutions, and then do the, this one has this that I like. Okay, great. And then keep narrowing down the list until you come to a list, that it's very close to the amount of schools that you're going to want to apply to. Hopefully that helps. All right, I have another question. With the current situations, are colleges looking for any specific targeted leadership qualities which we can highlight? I would say with the current situation, you're probably going to want to emphasize how do you handle, if you have been exposed to challenging situations. A lot of industries and everyone has been affected by the current pandemic, right? And the businesses that are remaining alive are the ones who have learned how to pivot, how to navigate these uncertain times and find ways how to still be alive, right? And they have thought outside the box. They were in challenging situations and they needed to be strategic in the next steps that they were taking. So I would say if you are highlighting your leadership style, you want to look at how have you handled, have there been any opportunities where you have handled difficult situations, situations that have made you make critical decisions with limited information, or critical decisions with in a short period of time, and emphasize those elements, because the world is going to look a little different after this pandemic. How? We're not quite sure yet, but it is going to be affected, and organizations are going to look for individuals who can handle stressful situations. And institutions, business schools, are going to look for individuals who they can find jobs for at the end of the program. So you are going to need to come in with some of the skills, some of the prerequisite skills as a leader to showcase those characteristics that with the training of an MBA at X institution, you will be able to find a job post MBA. You'll be, you'll show in their metrics as, 97% employment rate 3 months after graduation or something like that. Perfect. All right. I have another question from Mr. Gritone. With regards to the faculty contribution, since the quality of faculty may decrease with the ranking of the institution, say Harvard versus Kelly, sure, totally agree. How can one evaluating getting in versus faculty? I'm not quite sure I understand the question, but I can say that obviously a ranking is going to be a determining factor in the prestige, if you will, of the faculty in the institutions. But I would say again, not everyone wants to target Harvard. Not everyone wants to go to Wharton or whatever, any of these other schools, because of whatever the reason may be for them specifically. But I would say whichever institution you're looking at, you still want to look at the faculty. You still want to look at who is going to be teaching you. What are they thinking about in their research, right? Because you have to remember that their research, what they publish, what they speak about, what they do TED Talks about, is what they're spending outside of the classroom all their time doing, thinking about. That also means that the classroom conversation and discussions and case studies are probably going to be around those topics. So think about, just because someone is, a faculty at Kelly versus Harvard, it doesn't necessarily mean that the faculty is not going to be great. But look for elements that are going to help you grow as a professional, grow as a thinker, grow as a critical thinker. Because at the end of the day, in leadership, you will need the technical components, but you're also going to need the critical thinking. That is going to be a really important element in how successful you are post-MBA. So think about all the individuals that can help you bring different perspectives into your, view, so that whatever problems you face along the way in your journey, post-MBA, during MBA, long-term, short-term, how you can use that information to help you be a better leader, help you figure out whatever problems you're facing, how to deal with it. So hopefully that helps. John Leadman, do you have any? So Ali, the live webinar is going to be available on YouTube, so you can watch it as soon as we're done, the whole thing. And then obviously reach out with any questions afterwards. Mr. Greton, due to a lot of deferrals with international students this year, the number of slots might go down for next year. Very true. How futile would it be to apply for fall 2021, and how does one gauge the deferral status of different universities? The deferral status, unfortunately, that's not information that is available, that institutions publish. So what I would say is that in those conversations that you have in your homework number 1, when you speak with the admissions team, include a question like that. Ask them. They may tell you or may not, but you can still ask the question and see, they will, I'm sure that they will give you some indication, even if it's not a clear, precise number of how many people are on the deferral list at that institution. Now, of course, there's going to be competitiveness. We anticipate competitiveness going in. So the only thing I would say is evaluate where you are. Are you going to gain additional experience, gain additional exposures, have a better and stronger application if you wait another year? Or do you think that you have reached the maximum of, growth within the organization you're currently in, and that you need to apply this year? If the latter, I would say you really want to spend time and develop your application. Make sure you showcase all the skills and everything. Just put your best foot forward. Make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's so that your application has the best chance. Unfortunately, there's no guarantees. There will be competitiveness, but gather as much information. Be a investigator and do research on the target institutions. And of course, always with a lot more competitiveness, you want to probably increase the amount of schools that you are applying to, just so you make sure that you are going into a program that you are obviously excited about. also that goes within the plans that you have planned for yourself, between, that helps you make strides towards the vision that you have for yourself. Hopefully that helps. We are close to the end of our session, but these are wonderful questions. I'm really excited. Perfect. Question from Vishwadeep. Being in the military, I have 8 years of professional experience and challenges. Okay, so the question is, how do you make up for extracurricular activities since my military career prohibits social work and other activities? And I think institutions are totally going to understand that. Again, if you are a person who has been in the military, I had a client who was in the military, and he didn't really have any extracurricular activities since, he joined the military, but he still got, quite a number of admissions and a number of a significant scholarship. So I would say, in your case, what I want you to focus on, or what I would recommend that you focus on, is talk about your leadership within the military. Talk about the experiences that you've had, and how you have taken how you have really shown your team, your your company, how you have thought outside the box to make them better, if you are a leader within the military. So think about ways that you have improved your organization and your community. Perfect. What do you suggest on working on leadership skills during this situation, as I'm having to work from home? I think I had a session on this not long ago. Definitely, being home and being isolated, it makes really challenging. But to be honest, there's always ways to be a leader. Look at your team. See what way you can be helpful to them. That's a sign of leadership. Share with them articles, share with them, be motivating to them. Like, think about ways that you can be helpful to other people, and help them be better at be better employees, be better analysts, whatever their job is. Help in that way. And that's a sign of leadership, is someone who is actually going to help the other person shine. And through that, they shine as well, because they're the ones who are helping the other person. So think about, in your organization, in your the company you work for, how you can be of service. Look for any other community engagements that you were part of before this pandemic, before this self-isolation, and reach out to them and ask if you can be of service to them, if you can be helpful to them in any way, because there are people who need help. And just be resourceful. Be always look for opportunities to help. So I would say that would be something to focus on. Perfect. Do we have more time? All right. How do I answer the questions, why an MBA? What are the key areas that I need to think about in order to answer this question effectively? So first and foremost, why an MBA? What's your goal? What's your long-term goal? Like way long-term goal. So I'm talking about 10, 15 years from now. That's one element. And then you want to reverse engineer that. So you want to look at how you are going to, like, if you think about your long-term goal, you're currently in point, I don't know where you are in one point of your life, but you're trying to go to Z. And every single step along the way, you need to develop specific skills on how to get there. Then you want to, in the why an MBA, you want to look at how the MBA is going to help you, with that building block in helping you get to that long-term goal. So think about what the MBA offers specifically, concretely, with examples that you need in order to get to the goal that you want, both short-term, right? So both, immediately post MBA, but then also long-term. How are those steps going to help you get to that long-term vision, that long-term career plan? And just, articulate that in a obviously cohesive way. Perfect. We're gonna answer a few more questions, and then what I would encourage you to do is to reach out to us. I would really want to know more about your background stories and help you in this process and answer these questions. So if I don't get to answer, please reach out. The GMAT Club, IBG, was very kind to include the link to my website and reach out to us with any of the questions that I miss here. All right, so let's go to the next one. Where were we? Also, I got a lot of people telling me who can complete their own MBAs. So Siddhartha, right? Where are we now? I'm sorry, I missed the. So I have a question from Sandeep, who is asking how much do references matter in an MBA admissions? They matter a lot. References, it's kind of like you speak and you see and you view yourself in one particular way. And sometimes we view ourselves better than we are, and sometimes we undervalue ourselves. It depends on the person. The recommender, what they end up doing is telling the admissions committee how you are as a professional, and their experience working with you. So it's so important that you spend time with the recommender that you've chosen. Show them, guide them on how to answer the questions that they're being asked in a way that speaks the same language. So if you talk about yourself in one particular way and the recommender speaks about you in a different way and those two don't match, the admission there's a low probability that you'll be admitted into the program, because it's almost like you're talking about two different people, right? So those two elements need to match, and you want to have conversations with the recommenders that you've chosen, and ask them how they, or rather guide them on how they can answer the questions that they're being asked, and showcase examples that speak about you in the same way you speak about yourself. So it's absolutely important to do that, and give them time to write the recommendation letter in a way that that they can also themselves can write a persuasive letter that showcases you as a leader and your potential as a future leader post MBA. So definitely. So one last question. So how do you answer? Taiwo asked the questions. How do you answer a why now question? That is a very good question. So why now? I mentioned earlier, I think, if you are in your current career and you have sort of like capped the amount of experiences that you can gain, the amount of opportunities that you can have without an MBA in your organization, and you need an MBA to get to that next level of professional development, the why now becomes very clear, in the sense of, I am currently in this place in my career. I want to go here, but I need an MBA to move from here to here. So that's the why now question that is being asked. Why is this the appropriate time for you to do an MBA? So you want to show them, the experiences that you've gained and that you've, sort of maxed out the opportunities that are offered by the institution, but then show them, that you also need to get to, Z, and in order to get to Z, you need the MBA. So spend time thinking about this. This is why I always tell, my clients is you really want to develop these elements because they're important. This is what tells the institution that you have thought about why you are applying. You have thought about, first and foremost, why you need an MBA, and that you are a clear communicator that are able to express to the admissions team why an MBA and why now, those types of questions. All right. I thank you all. Thank you so much for asking the questions, for being so engaging, and for really asking some thoughtful questions. I really encourage you to reach out to us, and I'm here to answer more questions. So reach out, and I'm happy to have a conversation that is specific to you and your experiences. And you're able to, of course, tell me a little bit more about you, so I can, guide you in a way that is, more personal. Thanks again. This was wonderful. I really enjoyed our discussion today, and I look forward to having conversations virtually in person. Be safe and see you next time.